Welcome to the Chronic Pleasure Podcast, where we talk about all things pleasurable and some of the things that might get in the way and how to deal with them. My name's Karen Laurie, and today I wanted to talk about being childlike. So I often get told that I'm very childlike, and I like that. Not childish, but childlike. And what I've seen that I love in children is that they're fascinated with everything. They see tiny details. They question things. They want to understand things. They're willing to fall. They're willing to crawl. They're willing to climb. They're willing to explore. And that feeling of childlikeness to me is something we can keep forever. And it's something that some of my most favorite geniuses in the world, like Richard Feynman, who's a physicist, he had a childlike capacity to wonder and to ask questions and to play the bongos and to be funny. And I think that that childlike energy is really key. So, one of the ways that I've kept my childlike energy, or I've gotten it back, I should say, because I did lose it. But one of the ways that I've kept it is I look at kids. I look at kids and I look at them as my teachers. So one of my friends, when he had a little boy, now the boy's in college, but at this time, Hank is his name. When Hank was about 2 years old, he came to work out with me and my friends at the beach. My friend, who was his dad, Chuck, he had Hank wrapped around, his legs around his waist, and then Hank's arms around his neck. And what happened is when Hank came to see all of us, it was me and these 8 guys. We all worked out together on the beach, whatever. Anyway, so Hank, he reaches over to the next person who's next to his dad and he grabs onto him and wraps his legs around them and says, "Oh, Rami, I love you." And then the next person, "Oh, Phil, I love you." And the next person, "Oh, Tony, I love you." And then the next person, "Karen, I love you." And then the next person, it just went on and on. "Dominic, I love you." And he just went from person to person saying how he loved them. And I remember turning to his dad, who was my acrobatic partner, and I said, "Your son is my teacher." And his ability to just be free and express that love was so endearing and so charming. And all of us basically adopted him as our own in a way because he was such a childlike, beautiful, free person. Another time I learned from Hank, uh, he was very tiny at his age at the time, so he was now at about 3 years old. And one of the things that we would do is we would climb the rope, and there was a rope he was climbing, and he had on a leather belt with a plastic knife in it. And as he's climbing up the rope, he's like 3 years old and he's pretty small, and it's on the beach and whatever. So he's climbing up the rope, and somebody says, "Hey, Hank, it looks like your knife is getting in the way of the rope." And so Hank, he's he's on the rope. He takes his hand, takes the knife out, puts it in his teeth, and then climbs up to the top of the rope, hits the bar that it hangs from, and then slides down, takes the knife out, and does a bow with the knife in his hand. And everybody has to clap, right? He had so much finesse. And it was just like so funny. And we couldn't stop laughing because it was so adorable. Another time, same guy, Hank, he's been a big teacher for me. He was at this point maybe like still 3 or 3.5, and now he was climbing a longer rope. There's two ropes, one is shorter and one's longer. So now he's on the long rope, and we were now used to him being an incredible athlete. So we weren't really paying attention. We were all talking, and he's up there climbing up this rope, and we're just like in a group just chatting. And he's about 3/4 of the way up, and he looks down at everybody and he says, "Hey, everybody yell, 'Go Hank!'" And we immediately, "Go Hank! You got this, Hank! You can do it, Hank!" And Hank, climbs up and then hits the bar and he slides down again. And what I realize is he was asking exactly for what he wanted. And it was simple. It was just like, "Hey, everybody yell, 'Go Hank.'" You know? How many times in your life have you wanted to say, "Hey, everybody cheer for me," you know? You make a great meal or you get a catch out of, you get a catch or you do something fun. You write a good book or you do a great acting job or you turn in a great paper. You want people to cheer for you and people don't know to ask for that. And there's a childlike beauty in that freedom, in that capacity to say, "Hey, will you cheer for me?" You know, will you give me a hug? Will you kiss my knee? Whatever it is. And that playfulness, that unabashed ability to just ask for what you want to me is extremely healthy. I also love my niece when she was about, I think she was 2 years old. I got her this red coat. It was the perfect color for her eyes and for her hair and skin. She had these dark curly curls, ringlets like Shirley Temple, so cute. So she's getting it out of the package. It's her birthday, and she's pulling it out of the package, and she pulls it up, and she starts going, oh, and then she's so excited. So she puts the coat on. It fits her perfectly, and it's like cute, and it's got a little dressy thing, and she's like, she runs to the mirror and then she looks in the mirror and she's like, and she's twirling around, and me and her mom are just dying. We're just cracking up. And it was so adorable. And I didn't realize it, but when somebody had given me a gift a little while ago, not too long ago, I had done that similar thing without realizing it, and it's just so sweet because she was so enthusiastic. She was so pure. She wasn't just like, "Thank you," polite. She didn't even know, I don't think, how to say too much thank you. She was just like in the moment, really enjoying the red and the way it fit and it was incredible. And that kind of joy is so beautiful. So children have always been my teacher. I shouldn't say always, but they have in the last 12 years, they've been my teacher, even more before that. And one of the things that I think that is challenging for a lot of parents is that parents get this idea that they are supposed to be the teachers for the kids. If you can let your children and their wonder and their magic and their imagination and their playfulness and their fun and their freedom teach you, then you get some real collaboration. Of course, there's things you're going to share with them, but they have things to teach you too. And my friend brought over her children. She has 3 kids, and she's actually my client, and her husband was my client. And they brought over their kids. They live in another part of the world, but they came down to visit. And while we were there, her I had all my attention on the kids in a way. We were crawling along the floor. Crawling's actually really good, in fact. And it's, if you ever get stressed out, one of the best things you can do, not maybe the best thing, but a good thing you could do is to crawl, because crawling creates this bilateral, cross-lateral hemispheric communication. So we were crawling around. We were going upside down on the yoga trapeze that I have. We were bouncing on these bouncing balls I have. I have a hippity hop and I have yoga balls that you can sit on and bounce on. We went on the jiggle machine, which is my vibration plate. We were just doing all sorts of stuff. We put on these weird glasses that distort the way it is, and the kids were walking around like, whoa. And we had so much fun. And the mom turned to me and she said, we've been to a lot of people's houses and nobody gave my kids any attention. She said, but you treat them as if they're important. You treat them with reverence and with sacredness. And she said, I've never seen them so happy and so connected with each other. And they didn't want to leave. It was 10 o'clock at night and the youngest is 4, and she was just so energized. And I just felt so blessed because their playfulness is something that I want the rest of my life. And that childlike playfulness is it's just so healthy. It makes everything lighthearted, it makes things easy, it makes humor available, it makes connection. I Another thing that that kid Hank told me, I had taken him to a show called, a Cirque du Soleil show, 'cause we were all acrobats, and, now he's a rock climber. Um, so this was maybe he was 8, and we were in the intermission, and we were in the, like, the store where you buy Cirque du Soleil things, and we ran into somebody he knew from school. So I'm talking to the mom, and he's talking to the kid, and they're having a conversation, and then it's time to go back to our seats. So he and I are walking back to the circus, and I say, "Are you friends? Is that one of your friends?" And he goes, "Well, sort of." And I said, "Sort of?" And he said, "Yeah." He goes, "We eat lunch together, but we never play." And I thought, "Yeah." So one of the things I like to do is I play with people. I play ping pong, I play catch. I like to do playful things. I play acrobatics. I play fun things with people. I wish I played music because I would do that with people, but I like to play. And when you think about it, when you play a part as an actress, the best actors or actresses are playing a part. It's play, childlike. When you play music, you're playing music. It's play. It's so important to bring that playfulness, that childlike wonder and joy and exuberance and excitement, that feeling of like, "Ooh, what is this? What is that? Look, a bee. Look, an ant." It's so exciting, the little tiny things. And if you bring those eyes of a new being into this world, and you start walking around and you start looking at, "Oh my God, this flower. Look at how it smells. Look at that bug. It's so beautiful." If you start seeing that stuff, look at that spider web, right? You become more youthful. And being playful, being childlike, having fun, crawling, climbing, trying new things. I think I'm going to be doing that forever. I will always climb trees. I will always climb on top of people. I will always crawl and move around and roll and fall and play because it's so fun and it's so healthy. You cannot play and be stressed out at the same time. When you play, you're going to be in creative flow. So there's a genius in being childlike. There's a genius in learning from the children in your life. Again, my name is Karen Laurie, and if you want to learn more, you can go to chronicpleasurebook.com and get my books for free. And I really love you and appreciate you, and I'm so glad you're here.